Okay, it's Thursday. We got a bit of a surprise rain last night. That was nice and helpful. So today, one of the first things I'm going to do is I stopped by the dollar store. Here is 1 pound of pinto beans, and if I can get the bed ready, I'm going to plant them. And the reason I'm doing this, one, I haven't grown pinto beans before, but just kind of as a reminder that there's seeds everywhere. So I mean, these, if you go to an online shop or go to the big box store, Walmart, and you buy a packet, a seed packet of beans, you're gonna get maybe that much. You're gonna know exactly what variety it is, whether it's a bush or a pole, but you're gonna get maybe that much. It's gonna be about $2 to $3. Here's a whole pound. It's $1.25 at the dollar store. There was a 5-pound bag for $5, which makes it $1 a pound. You go into some of the bigger grocery stores and you can get even bigger bags for less money, per pound. Now, this will plant out an awful lot, and you don't have to. If all you needed was that packet worth, well, spend $1.25, plant that packet's worth, and eat the rest. Okay? Now, while I'm out here, I'm going to be here for 2 or 3 hours. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to soak them. A lot of people, usually I don't soak dry seeds at all. Some people do, they do overnight. So I'm just going to split the difference and say, while I'm here, I'm just going to pour them in there, let them soak, and then when I'm ready to plant them, they'll be pre-soaked a little bit. But let me do that, and then we get to the next thing. It's Friday, and it's about noon. I got out here about 10 o'clock, and it was obvious we had already had an early morning crew, because when I came down, there were a bunch of grass and weeds that had been put down here, which is great. This is a great place to put them, get them out of the way. If I could make one very small request, instead of just dumping them on the top of the pile, if you could come back here and put them on the actual dirt where it's bare, just kind of bringing them around, I'll then cover them with some of those wood chips, and we'll just get a layer. As you can see, we'll start getting a layer here, and all that will just break down and just build more soil down here in the trees. And there's a good reason for that, why I would like to see, even though we may not be planting quote crops down here, there's no reason not to build soil down here as well as up there. So good job on the Thursday and Friday early morning crews, getting stuff done. The second compost pile was right here. I'd already moved about half of it. I've now moved the other half. And as I'm walking up there, got volunteer cowpeas all over the place. Let them go. I've been saying I was going to put a couple of wires here for this blackberry for a month or so. Finally did it. I'm slow, but I'm a guy. We say we'll do something. You don't have to nag us about it every 6 months. When I got here at 10 o'clock, there was another pickup, and there were a couple of ladies out here picking. So they had a decent amount of the larger green tomatoes. And when I was here yesterday, there were not a huge amount, but a decent amount of small cucumbers on the striped Armenians and the regular ones. I can't find hardly any but the itty-bitty ones right now. So they got a few, and somebody since yesterday about noon has been out here and had picked as well. So we are getting stuff producing, and we are getting things picked. So if you come out here and you don't see anything ready to pick, it could be it's already been picked. So like I mean, look at all the blooms. And there are just bees and insects everywhere on the zinnias and all these different kinds. But I mean, here's a striped Armenian cucumber, and yesterday when I was out here, there were at least 5 that were 5 times that big. So things are producing. That's the rest of the compost. So that's, those 2 piles have been combined. The temperature was up a little bit. I've re-watered this one in place and added the other half. So we'll see how that does. Now what I'm going to do today, or the rest of the day, whatever, how much energy I've got or time. Yesterday, these 2 rows got cleaned out. A light till and pinto beans. I'm going to start on this row, and I'm just going to see how far I can get. And I've got black-eyed peas. However far I get, when I stop, if I still got the energy, the rest of it I'm going to put plastic on. So, because probably won't be hardly anybody out here touching it, you know, till next Thursday. It is time to start keeping an eye on the okra. We're getting okra and it needs to be picked. This one is fine, this one's great size. If it doesn't get picked, they'll start slowing down production. So it's time to start keeping an eye on this okra and getting it picked. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a perfect size. There's a little okra, so it's just fixing to kick off. So let me get some tunes on and get to work. Oh, let me show you the black-eyed peas I'm planting. So I went down to the supermarket, Bob's or Bill's Fresh Market. About $1.50 for 1 pound. Okay. Same way I did the pinto beans yesterday. And then I'm just going to put them in here and let them soak while I'm pulling weeds. And that way when I put them out, they'll have a head start. And I am planting them thick, 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 because I want them to come up. I'm not sure what the germination rate is going to be in the first place, but I expect a fairly decent one. And I want them coming up thick enough to outcompete that nutsedge. Been doing some reading and some research, and some of that will come in the next video when I go over the soil test results that I got back. 4 o'clock. Gathered up my stuff, fixing to head out. One big success today. Over the course of the day, I probably had at least 10 different people stop by, either one at a time or in a pair of people at a time, just asking questions, wanting to look around, picking. I don't think anybody that wanted to pick something didn't leave with something. We talked a little bit about what's out here, what the plans are. Several people said they've been coming out here for years. I mean, they could describe what was where last year, and every once in a while, you know, that, like one of the gentlemen today said, last year there was so much yellow squash, it got, you know, a lot of it didn't get picked. I've also had a couple of people, you know, observe that at one point, I don't remember what year, but at one point, you know, that it was really got away from, really got growed up with weeds and stuff like that. So I mean, they were describing, so they've been out here. But that's 10 people today. Now, is that normal? I don't know. Unless and until we can get some kind of a camera out here to log visits, then we won't know. And I really, really would like that. I've got a couple of birdhouses. I'd like to have a treated 4x4, about 10 foot tall, at some point to bring out and put those birdhouses on. Sink the pole about 3 or 4 feet. It'll only be about 6 feet in the air, but have a couple of birdhouses, but then also have a cellular game cam, so we could tell when, you know, get an idea of how many people are dropping by. But like I may have already said yesterday, I put pinto beans in these 2 rows. I didn't get very far on this one. Black-eyed peas, really, really thick. It's as much a smothering cover crop as anything. And then the rest of the row, I used what plastic I had and just covered the rest of this plastic and anchored it down with wood chips. We got another load of wood chips while I was out here, and that's what this is, very fresh. And it's actually a peach tree. Somebody took down a peach tree, nothing wrong with it. It actually had peaches on it, and they took it down. But I ran out of plastic, so if somebody else wants to get a roll of plastic and bring out, that we can finish these rows, because you know, trying to keep up with that nut sedge, and then we can uncover it. If and when we ever want to plant it, we just roll the plastic off. But I can do all of this by myself in a whole lot less time than I can pull the weeds. The dragon's tongue beans need picked. Somebody needs to be picking. This one's actually going to end up being it's already too dry to pick. It probably needs to stay there and dry out and be used for seed. There are okra. So okra needs to be picked. Beans need to be picked. Cucumbers, keep an eye on them. They need to be picked. There may not be massive quantities, but there is stuff that needs to be picked at least every other day out here now. The zinnias, the flowers need picked so that they can keep producing. So things are happening finally. It's picking up, it's looking good, getting some positive comments from people. So let's keep at it.